Gamers are gonna rule the world. That's what
so.
I got for you. Yeah.
Yeah. I've been going first name, actually. So it was like, hey, it's Biaggio from Oakwood Realty. I was like, Biaggio who? It's like, if you know another one, please introduce me.
Yeah.
You know, so that's why I'm going to try and get away with that for as long as I can. Just do stuff.
Yeah.
That's it. Just do stuff.
Try things. Welcome to the Catch Up Podcast with your host, Bryan Sumardi. #1 podcast to feed your curiosity. And let's just get right into it. I got my buddy, Biaggio from TGP Homes. What's up, bro?
All right.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah, right to the point.
That's the intro.
Yeah, that's the intro. I like it.
I'm happy you're here, man.
I'm happy to be here. This is an awesome building. It really is. I'm very jealous of the pool, the game room, and some of the really cool stuff that you got around here, and that giant chessboard. So I don't know how tight your game is, but maybe we can check it out.
Yeah, we can do that. Welcome to the Promenade in Bethesda.
Okay.
This is probably one of the few co-ops in Maryland, I believe.
Okay.
Have you dealt with co-ops? I feel like in New York you have.
In New York, yeah. They're like a much bigger thing in New York.
Mm-hmm.
We don't see too many, right? We don't see that many of them out here.
Yeah.
In New York, they are a big thing, and then they're their own thing, right?
Yeah.
You have to be a very specific type of buyer, tenant, or owner to be like...
I just want to be a shareholder.
Yeah.
That's the hardest thing to explain. This is not a condo.
Right. Yeah, very different. But it's definitely for certain people. How do you like it so far?
I love it. Like, it's everything I need. The thought of me having a family worries me.
Okay.
Now I need more space.
Sure.
But otherwise, if I knew this straight out of high school, as soon as I could afford this, I'd go straight into this.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think about that too. It's like all that time you spend apartment hunting. It's like, well, what if you just got this?
Yeah.
And you're all set. But yeah, with, depending on where you're at in life, of course, as you move from place to place, and that's the one thing, right? When you move from apartment to apartment, you're like, there's so much space. And then you just, and then you take all that stuff, you move it to a new place, and until eventually it's like, got so much stuff.
What am I doing with this?
Where did I get it? Right? Like you wish that like garage sales or like it was easier to sell stuff because it's like, I got to get rid of this.
Yeah.
Why can't I sell it as easy as I bought it? Why can't I just get rid of it and then get some of that money back as easy as I bought it?
I'm learning from these consignment stores. There's a spot in Rockville called Uptown Cheapskate.
Okay.
You get super lowballed on your stuff, like for like clothes wise.
Right.
But I don't mind. Get like a little cash here and there.
Yeah. Like at GameStop, we used to go and you buy a game for $40, they give you $3. They used to be really good with that. Don't you remember? Like you used to bring, I don't know if this is on topic at all, but now that we're on the subject of GameStop, we got beef with GameStop. No, it's like you used to go trade all your games in. You bought them for a Nintendo 64 for like $50, $60.
Yeah.
They'd give you $20. It's like, okay, that's fair, but it's like $3 now.
Right.
That's not...
They're just trying to make their margins.
Yeah, it's like, well, where else are you going to go? We bought out all our competitors. Where else are you going to trade it in?
When I was in high school, I think I had the same. Well, honestly, because it was closer to me, it was literally like from here to like a block away. We had a place called Game Crazy.
Okay.
Have you heard of that spot?
No.
I think it was like a one-off thing. They had tournaments.
Okay.
My brother was a big Tekken player.
Okay.
He won like $100 one time when we were young, and I was like, "Damn, that's crazy!" And we thought that was going to be like the thing, like gaming, and that was probably early 2000s.
Yeah.
So before all these like esports came out,
time, yeah.
and I was like, "Wow!" But I think they were doing great. We would always go there to sell our games versus GameStop because we had to go to the mall for GameStop, and I think it's the same thing.
They probably gave you better at the one.
Maybe like $5 more, but I was like, that's something.
It was something.
We'd always just trade it up for another game.
And then,
anyway,
you build it up, and then you get
store credit.
Yeah. So those were good times, man. That's like Tekken. We used to Street Fighter was the one. We used to like skip church and go to Krypton Comics, Staten Island, Highland Boulevard.
Okay.
And play Street Fighter. And then we went to Catholic school.
Yeah.
Like, then we get a letter home, like, hey, we didn't see your sons at church. It was like, oh.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So, maybe that has something to do with...
Yeah, let's get into the background. Where did you grow up?
Staten Island, New York.
Staten Island, New York.
Yeah, heck of a place.
And when did you get here?
little over a year ago.
A little over a year ago.
Coming down here for about 10 years.
Uh-huh.
And then we finally moved down here a little over a year ago. Big adjustment.
Yeah.
Right? Very, very different.
100% different.
So many things to get used to. My tone will always suggest cynical and negative, but it's not all negative. That's just my tone of voice. It's there's a lot of positives. You know, one is the team that I'm on. Like, they're amazing. Made me feel right at home. Like, they are in the same vein of the people that I would want to be around.
Yeah.
So, you know, when we get together, whether it's business, whether it's hanging out, whether it's just, you know, just talking as friends, like, these guys are rock solid guys. Like, they're awesome. So that's definitely the main positive, just being able to land here and then almost instantly be accepted.
Yeah.
And they give you the benefit of the doubt until, you know, you don't want to prove them wrong, but they let you in. So, so that was cool.
There you go. So shout out to TGP
Homes. Thanks so much, guys. Keep me around a little bit longer.
I really want to know your transition, because I like, for me, the closest thing to the military mindset is a New York attitude.
All right. I like
and for me, my transition out of the military is very difficult.
Okay.
And I think it's more, I have to, like, you know, you define, like what you said, when people accept you, it's one thing. But then when you actually find the people that you actually like vibe with, that's a whole different ballgame. Yeah,
it is.
And I think just when we first started talking, and even this from like Instagram DMs, that just instant acceptance through social media, and I feel like that's like the whole new vibe.
Yeah.
Like, even from like online dating to social media, like, that's really where people are meeting each other now.
Right.
And then now, in translation to our workplace, where like real estate, what's next?
Right. Yeah. So what's interesting, right, is that I think in order to be successful on the internet, to be successful on social media, to be successful anywhere, is authenticity.
Yeah.
Your favorite Naval, right? One of the quotes that I just recently seen, whether he said it now, recently, whatever, but it was like, escape competition by being authentic, or something along those lines. You know, that's it. You have no competition for yourself. So like, the key to being success on the internet, on social media, I think, is being authentic, because you have to be comfortable. Because say I do send you a DM, or you send me a DM, and all of a sudden it's like, hey, I'm portraying this person, and I reach out because I want to talk to that guy, and all of a sudden you're this completely different guy. It's like, oh, okay, I want to work with that guy. Yeah. How do I work with that guy? It's like, because the man behind the scenes has to match with the guy on the front. So and you know, I assume that in the military it is that, like, you have to portray, there is no faking. Like, if you show up to work for the day, it's like, you better be the guy that you said you were, otherwise we got a problem.
With the military, I find it's like, we make so many like split-second decisions. Okay. You don't have time to be anybody but yourself. Yeah. You know what I mean? Okay. And that's how I felt like, well, one of my best friends, he's he was born in the Bronx, spent a lot of time in Houston, and now he's here. Like, by far, that's like my hardest working friend that I have. And I guess him and I got another friend named Miguel, military dude, was a Marine too. He got out around the same time I did. And like, when I find people who are 100% authentic, that's like a keeper.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Because that, you really only get one shot to it. It's like, when you have people that are portraying themselves or portraying a person, and then they sort of give you a glimpse to where it's like, hey, that's not who you said you were. Yeah. Right? And that was my mentality. And so in doing what I did, you know, working on Wall Street and dealing with people, it's like, you had to be right to the point, right? And you had to say, you had to do what you said and say what you're going to do, and you had to mean it. Right. And, you know, coming here and dealing with people in a different way, because real estate market, stock market, real estate sales, stock sales. They're sales and markets. It's the exact same thing. They're just two very different speeds, I guess, right? Yeah. Two different
asset classes.
Yeah. So, but they're identical. Right. But yeah, making sure that you're authentic, making sure that you are who you say you are. Yeah. Because as soon as you show otherwise, it's like an instant there's that level of distrust.
Yeah.
So to me, growing up that way, there was no point to do it the other way because you met people that did that.
Right.
And then you knew who they were. They got branded, right? In a way, it was like, don't do nothing with that. I almost said his name. Don't go anywhere near anything he says. It's not true.
Yeah.
I know. Sure enough, he was the best salesman you'd ever meet.
Yeah.
But, and he wanted to give him a shot too. He's like, you want to believe, maybe this time is different. Nope.
Oof.
So
That's
you
tough.
just say what you're going to do and do what you're going to say.
I'm interested in hearing more about like who you're vibing with on that level here. Since you've been here for a year now.
So everybody on the team is on that level where they're authentic. They all came from very different backgrounds, and that was the one thing. It's like you land there, and from where I'm from, it's like you land on Wall Street. Everybody looked, sounded, walked, talked like me.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, okay, there's a certain level of comfort because you know who these guys are, what to expect. Right? Yeah. They wore their stripes on the outside. So you knew this guy was a tiger. You knew this guy was a shark. They portray, and you just didn't get close enough. Yeah. If you don't want to get bit, you don't get close enough. That's kind of it.
Okay.
But here, coming in and very different people, very different mannerisms, very different speeds, tonalities, all that sort of thing. But very much on the same wavelength. So in terms of vibes, it would be difficult to isolate. I have my favorites. But
well, I'm not necessarily talking about your team, but I don't know if you found anybody else outside of work.
Yeah, no, like a lot of the people I connect on social media, like you.
Yeah.
Just seeing out, looking out and seeing who people are doing things that I'm interested in learning, getting involved in. People who seem like they're going in the same direction, right? And being able to reach out to them. And like Instagram and the internet are great platforms for that. To reach out to people that you normally wouldn't have access to, and do it. But when you're, when you think about like you go on Twitter and you see these traders that are trading millions and millions of dollars, and you can just send him a DM and he'll take 2 seconds and answer you. Like, this guy's a multi-millionaire, and he just answered my question. Like, oh my god,
Exactly.
So, and doing that on a local level, where it's like you're going to actually see these people. Not only are they going to answer your question, you're going to run into them in the street.
Yeah.
And you have the opportunity to meet with them and work with them and collaborate with them and say, hey, I see what you're doing and I'm doing something similar. How can we make this bigger? How can we make this better? How can we really turn this into business, turn this into positivity in the community and support, the community, local businesses, and ourselves, of course.
100%. Like, I was thinking about that question you asked me the last time we met. It was like, who am I in the beginning?
Okay.
I think when
I thought that was going to be an easy one.
That was the hardest for me. Because from that, I was like, for your video, I was just like, just say I'm a loan officer.
Oh, yeah,
thinking of your audience, of seeing me just as a realtor. But then now, if I think about it personally, I think of myself as an artist and an investor. In that aspect. So, because all I want to do, and I've updated my like top 5 list of the people who I've been influenced by.
Awesome. Yeah. We'll have to get to that, yeah.
My newest person is Sam Parr.
Okay.
Do you know who that is?
No.
He founded a newsletter basically called The Hustle. Okay. And it was recently bought by HubSpot. Okay. So by multi-million-dollar transaction, just by building a community. And he had a podcast recently with another person that I look up to named Nick Bear, Army infantry dude, fitness guy. But they were talking about there's 2 types of audiences that you can build. There's one audience where if you're a content creator and you're building your brand, if you stop making content for a month, everything stops. Yeah. Because the business is about you. Yeah. But if you actually are good at communicating and communicating that with communicating the mission with your audience, you stop making content for a month, your content your brand will still be growing just because they're going to be doing the work for you. Sure. And that's like the Facebook, where Facebook started out as a dating site, where people just want to connect to other people from like these colleges, right? Harvard and whatnot. And people just blew it up. It's like, oh, this person or that person, this person or that person, and then I kind of blew up to the next spot.
Right.
And I think about that now, where I just love, like, I'm going off a tangent in this.
No. This is
I think about there's certain people who like going to 0 to 1. I believe that's me, versus 1 to many. Like one, like that first step.
So what's 0 to 1 and
0 to 1 is building something from scratch.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So like, from the things that you know of me right now, I've done basically that 0 to 1.
Sure.
Whether it's my sumo lifts, where it's like fitness to veterans and tech people, or the podcast 0 to 1. I'm just shooting the podcast, but I'm not a good optimizer.
Okay.
So thinking about like 1 to 2 may not be the optimizer, maybe like 2 to 3, but like 2 to 3 is like where, all right, I see what you're doing. Now we need to hire someone admin to handle all your busy work so you can keep creating and make the brand bigger. And then we just shoot it out to more people, or have the right person to explain your mission for you.
Sure.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's interesting they bring it up in that way, 0 to 1 and then 1 to many.
Yeah.
Because that 1 to many is the key, right?
Yeah.
The 1 to many is ultimately when you find the thing, but all those 0 to 1s, and they could be in so many different directions, and I've done that, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like I've always, hey, I'm going to do this now, I'm going to do that now, and if you would ask me, like, who are you? It's like maybe I would have to go through a list, like you said, who am I? You're right. I guess thinking about it now, it's like, couldn't just be like, I'm a real estate agent, ... It's like, well, what are you? It's like, well, I was an artist, I'm an investor, a content creator now, podcaster.
Yeah.
And so what is the word for all that? It's like, I guess it's just, I'm just a businessman. I'm an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Right? And currently, the way that I make the majority of my income is through selling houses.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, but there's so many other things that I want to incorporate into that. Like, I'm not selling houses to sell houses. I'm selling houses because it's fun and I enjoy being a salesperson. I enjoy meeting people and I enjoy the way that you do it, because it's very much a networking thing. It's very much going out and meeting people. And you never know who you're going to meet. And I think that's really exciting. When you're, selling stocks, it's very different. It's more like hunting. Okay? You're actively seeking out clients, active. Right. Either you have a successful hunt and you bring it back, or you don't. In real estate, it's more like fishing. Yeah. So it's how many rods can you put out into the water and then let them go. Right. And it's finding out what's going to be the most fun rod to throw out there, because that's the one you're going to put the most time into. Yeah. When they say, like, be the host. Like this, like, come on down. Now you're the host, right? Yeah. So when we do our, the 5 Bites Fire at the Bearded Realtors on Instagram, one of the best mini casts that you can get. Is that a word, or can we make that up?
Mini cast?
Microcast.
Like a mini podcast?
Yeah, like a microcast, right?
Capsule cast.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw, but I was putting like trailers on the thing.
Yeah.
Coming up, posting tomorrow at 8. Like, I haven't seen that. I'm sure somebody is doing it. But I feel like that could be a thing. Anyway.
That could.
Right?
That could be a business all of its own.
Right. It's like you're sitting there and you're scrolling on the thing all day. You're on the thing. Let's not pretend for 1 second that Instagram isn't one of the most powerful entertainment, infotainment, informational things that there is. And I say Instagram because it's my favorite one, but TikTok, Twitter, right, they're all the same. Yeah. Facebook. Let's not pretend that there's not value there. So why not treat it like a blockbuster Hollywood event? Why not put a trailer out for your posting tomorrow? Yeah. Right, at 8 o'clock. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, yes, I got to tune in to that. Or set notifications for that. Make it an event. Yeah. So anyway, being the host, doing stuff that leads back to being authentic. Yeah. If you have a rod in the water, right, a networking thing, a thing that you enjoy doing, like if somebody said, oh, go learn to play golf. Why learn to play golf? Yeah. I'm going to be 41 years old. Yeah. I've never played golf before. Yeah. I don't really want to learn to play golf. And it's like,
I'll set in my ways.
It's like you're going to go out and you're going to meet so many people. It's like, okay, well, I get that part. Yeah. But let me see if I can do it my way. Right. What's the best way for me to do it my way? Can we go to the arcade and network? Well, maybe not really.
Yeah.
Can we, do I like to eat? Yeah, okay, let's just invite a bunch of people out to eat.
Yeah.
And yeah, okay, maybe meet 1 or 2 people at a time, but if you then put it on the internet and then you magnify, you're meeting those 2 people plus the people you have access to on the internet, and then plus at the end of the conversation, if you have a genuine connection with these people,
yeah,
they're going to know, like, and trust you and then want to do stuff again. They'll call you back and say, hey, come do my show.
Yeah.
Awesome. Hey, come over to my shop. You got to check out my new candy bar. Like, shout out Perfect Truffle, Cody. Amazing guest. We'll see you soon.
Nice.
But yeah, people like that we meet around town and like, hey, come on down to this tasting. Come on, you got to check out my vineyard. You got to, so that's fun for me. So I would rather do that than try and pick up like, say like golf, right?
Yeah. Because
you start out, you're not going to shine. I'm going to be the noob, and it's like nobody's going to want me on their team. Maybe I hang out with a bunch of newbies, and maybe that's its own thing. But would I enjoy it? I wouldn't get up at 6 a.m. to go do it. Yeah. But if I set a time to come 6 a.m. to come all the way down here and do like a show like this and hang out, talk about food, talk about Wall Street, talk about whatever, it's like I'm setting my time for 4:30 in the morning. Right. Like I'm doing it, and it's not going to feel like anything. So. Yeah, because it's actually fun. I have so many different angles where I want to go with this. Because we like went everywhere. Yeah. But I guess let me first preface on a book that I read recently. It's called The Lifestyle Investor. And it bases on like thinking about what your lifestyle will be. And I was talking to my girlfriend about this, where I just asked her like, hey, how many days in the month do you want to actually be working? And I think it starts off with how much money you want to make, then how many days you want to start working. And for this example, we just say, hey, I want to be making at least $10,000 a month. And say she says she wants to work between 12 to 16 days in the month. Okay. The way you break it down is you divide 10,000 divide by, say, 16 days. We did the math. It's around $650. Every day you work, you have to make $650. Then you'll hit your 10K. When you break it down like that, being your own business owner, selling your own service or product makes more sense. Yes. Because now you have to figure out, it's not about what I'm passionate about, or it could relate, but it's figuring out what services can I provide that someone will pay me $650. Yes. And I did that subconsciously when I thought about media. Okay. So when I thought about like photography, media work, I'm like, I'm pretty sure big companies would easily pay $500, $600, $1,000, $1,500. I've gotten paid the most for like me to do up to a 5-minute video of something. Okay. Or even photography of my time, of just setting them right, posing them right, getting the shots in, sending them, or after editing. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, now my goal is to scale. Remember I was talking about 0 to 1, then 1 to 2 and up? So that's the part where I'm learning now. Yeah. And I love like just the growth of the business structure. And the only way to do that, and to go back on your question, was like, how many days do you want to work? Yeah. To me, the answer is every day and never. And those are the same thing, right? How many days do you want to work? Every day. Yeah. And never. And the way I always think about it is like Michael Jordan, and I always go back to him, he hasn't played in years, but whatever. Yeah. Right? It's like that's it. It's like he never ever was sitting on his couch watching TV 15 minutes before the game. Never. There's no shot. Okay. He was in the gym. He was doing whatever he had to do, because when he woke up, he was Michael Jordan. When he went to bed, he was Michael Jordan. He got paid to be him. Yeah. Right? So he worked every day, and he never worked. He was on and off the court. He was him every day and never. When you do something like this and you say, I'm an artist, I'm a content creator, I'm a podcaster, I'm a loan officer, a real estate agent, I'm all these different things. I'm always doing everything, and I'm never working, because I'm just doing them just by being me. Yeah. Picking up the phone and saying, hey, can I come down here? Like, I'm working right now. Yeah. Like, we're hanging out by the pool. This is work. Right. Right? Maybe we're not getting paid right away. Like, I'm not going to send you an invoice. Hopefully you're not going to send me one. But at the end of the day, this is building an infrastructure for us to network, to meet people, to find people that we can help support, that we can help buy a house, that we can help get a loan, that we can help promote their company, right? And you can only do that by doing stuff like this. Otherwise, nobody's even going to know you exist. Yeah. And the only way you can scale is if you do your media, you do your photography, you do your videos, and you are passionate enough about it to spend more time than what they're paying you for.
Right.
And that's the only way you're going to take it to a level to where it's like, I can't believe this guy only charged $500.
Yeah.
That's where you want to be. Like,
Exactly.
I can't believe he only charged me $500. You got to go to this guy.
Yeah.
You have to go to this guy.
Right. So actually, think this is an issue that I'm having currently. How do you feel about like the hedonic treadmill of exactly what you said? Like, I'm stepping away from that thought over like, I want to be working every day and I don't want to feel like working. Because that was the point when I feel like I met my girlfriend and I'm learning more about having a family and having like a future.
Mm-hmm.
Where, for example, the podcast I listened to, this guy was a business owner, Nick Bear. He owned BPN supplements for the past 10 years. And because he started from scratch, that's like his baby.
Okay.
And when he had his first child, he had to go through couples therapy.
Okay.
Just so that he could step away from the business.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And the therapist asked him one question that like broke him. And the question was, without your business, who are you?
Mm.
And for me, I asked myself that same question. It's like, without all my little businesses, who am I?
Mm-hmm.
And if I were to answer that honestly right now, I'm just a lazy guy. I just want to be able to lay back and
funny
just
is that,
relax.
I would say the exact same thing.
Yeah.
I'd be like, yeah, I do all these different things, but it's like deep down, it's like I don't want to do
nothing.
I just want to hang out. I just want to like, but that's the goal. And I feel like the busiest people kind of are the laziest, I guess, right, in a way. It's like the business people who do all these things, it's like they do want to hang out, but it's not like I'm going to hang out and abandon all these things.
Yeah.
I only want to do things that I feel like I want to do. Yeah. Now, it's kind of interesting and I watched this TED Talk, and he was talking about, there was this guy who was talking about ADHD, right? Okay. And he was talking about, he's like, so I had ADHD, and he's talking about growing up with it and doing all these things. And so my son has ADHD, and dealing with him is, you have to be very specific. Right. Certain things, he's only going to see his way. Like, not only being an 8-year-old is tough and hard-headed. Yeah. It's like he's extra hard-headed. Okay. And learning sales through children is probably, like, having kids will make you the strongest salesman ever. I really think so, because they're the toughest salesmen. Yeah. Because they're not going to stop until they get what they want. Right. And eventually you're going to give them a maybe, which to them is a yes. Yeah. Right?
It's like he budged.
Yes.
Broke the cracks.
Oh, he got a maybe. Yeah. Like, oh, I can't believe I said maybe. We're going to do this for another 3 hours. And then vice versa, where it's like in order to keep them happy, to feel like they get what they want, you have to instantly pick up on your leverage. Okay. It's like, oh, I got leverage. Oh, is that all you wanted? Oh, you should have said so. Okay. And then you deflect it. We get away from this thing, this $80, Lego set that he is not getting on a Tuesday afternoon for no reason, to now we're okay with ice cream. Yeah. Right? So it's a win-win all around. But the one instant of leverage, and you got to, that's it. So back to this guy giving the TED Talk, and he was talking about back in caveman days, it was a superpower, right?
What do you mean?
You got these guys, hunter-gatherers, and they're sitting in the weeds, hunting saber-toothed tigers with spears. Yeah. And they're sitting in the weeds for hours on end, just waiting. And they're hyper-focused on the wind, on the smells, and they're just hyper-focused on what they want. Okay. What they want is to eat. Yeah. Right? It's not entertainment. Right then and there, they want to eat. Now, there's people they're hunters, but the supreme hunters are the ones that are hyper-focused. They can't hear anything. They can't see anything. He catches a whiff, sees the tiger, and he sneaks up on him. He gets the tiger. And that's it. Back then, it was a superpower. Yeah. Now we don't do that anymore. We hyper-focus on things like entertainment. It can be misdirected in the other way. There's so much stimulus, there's so much going on that we can be pulled in every direction. And he mentioned, how that was a struggle for him. And then he said, as he got older, he looked at it like a superpower, right? This hyper-focus. And he's like, and this goes back to what we were talking about. He goes, the one thing that I learned is that I was able to pursue my passions because I could only pursue my passions.
Yeah.
And once I learned that about myself, I was free.
Yeah.
It was nothing wrong with me. It was that I was being pulled in a direction I didn't want to be.
Right.
So I was hyperfixated here. And then I just learned to find something that I was passionate about, that I could pursue it relentlessly until I got it.
Yeah.
And then I was able to be peerless. Because how can you beat that person? It's like, that's him.
Yeah.
That's all he wants in the whole world. Until he gets it, he's not going to stop.
Yeah.
To get that hyper focus, and it's hard to find that.
Yeah.
That one thing that not only can you hyper focus on, but you can turn it into something that you can get paid every day, so that you could just lay back and do that.
Right.
Go to sleep, watch TV, wake up and do that, and you're never working.
Yeah.
You're just doing what you want to do.
Yeah. Well, I'm half and half on that part, because the way that I think about it, I want to have a business that that I don't have to be manually labored into it.
Sure.
Where I think of like rental properties.
Okay.
I know what I have to do. I'm not emotionally tied to it because I'm just making sure my tenants are happy. Kind of like what you were saying with your children.
Yeah.
Thinking about, all right, how do I get by, not to be like a slumlord landlord.
Sure.
But it's just like, how do I get by on making my tenants happy the best as possibility, but without me physically having to serve them on a daily basis?
How do I make them feel like they got a $3,000 fridge when I can give them a $700 fridge? You don't want them to feel like, well, this is not what you have to keep everyone happy, but at the same time, it is a business.
Yeah.
Well,
I think about, for my real estate, it's just like the power of, I think it's location, power of location. And like when you talk about like focus, that was like another part. Figuring out what people want to like a very foundational level, where me coming out of high school, all I wanted to do is chase after girls, get drunk, whatnot. But when you think about geography, like for me growing up in Silver Spring, like Wheaton, Maryland, I didn't know much of the outside suburbs.
Okay.
Like I know of DC. I don't venture to DC because like all I had was a couple of dollars to get me through the bus and I would walk home back and forth to school, whatnot. But then as I grow up, I start to travel more. And that's what I try to tell people in general when they haven't found their passion yet or like their focus. Okay. Just keep trying things. You'll find something that hits. And I think that's that ADD, ADHD kryptonite.
But that's also that 0 to 1. Keep trying stuff
until you're ready
until
to go
you find it.
More.
But guess what? Not one of those 0 to 1s was a waste.
Yeah.
Not one.
Right.
Because you're bringing something back to the center every single time.
Yeah.
When I did, so when I first started on Wall Street, when I first started in sales, I am not a salesman naturally.
Okay.
Not at all. Very quiet.
Yeah.
I'm not confrontational.
Yeah.
I'm very much introverted, but I had to learn how to be that.
Yeah.
And when you're trying to learn that from people who don't even know why they're good at it, they can't explain it, right? Because when you're dealing with these, amazing salesmen.
Yeah.
And in order to do something like that, and I don't know how much I can say, can't say or whatever, but it's very much a full contact environment.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, how do you do this? How do you dominate this? And he's like, just do it.
Yeah.
But he can't. That's literally his answer. He doesn't have a scientific formula for it. But for someone like me, I need to know the structure. Right. And it took a real long time for me to finally put a structure together. But then when I put a structure together, and I was like, okay, that's why. Well, I can say this, this, and this, and get that. You try and explain that to me. It's like, what are you talking about? It's like, wait a second. You really don't know why you're good at this? Yeah. Okay. So then little by little, I was able to interchange things. I was able to adapt. I was able to put things where I did try new things and then make it 100% authentic. Yeah. So whenever I'm saying a word, it's my word. Whenever I'm using any type of story or whatever. It's my story.
Yeah.
So these come through when you're talking. You're being authentic. You're being honest, which is the most important thing in sales. You cannot be dishonest.
Right.
People will they'll catch it, and even if it's the tiniest little thing, that's it. It's done. It's blown. The trust is gone, and they're never going to refer. You have to be 100% honest, and it's so much more rewarding that way anyway, because you can put your head on your pillow and sleep at night.
Right.
You're not trying to get over anybody. It's just what it is. So trying to learn from them and trying to put together scientifically why these things worked is the fun thing.
Yeah.
You know, and then
logic.
Yeah, because it does become a game, right? Yeah. And then when you're able then to take that and bring it out into the real world, you realize that sales is a superpower. Yeah. Being able to talk to people, being able to take your idea out of your head and then show it to somebody. Yeah. Because how many times do you have a great idea where it's like, I don't think you get what I'm saying, do you? It's like you're trying to explain it to them and you're like, you have all these things out there and it's like, they're just looking at you blank face like, you lost me like so far back and I was just hearing you out just to be kind, but now you're asking me follow-up questions. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Right. Like to me, the way I want to explain finances, if I could just like explain like, you know that time when Naruto just like won the whole crowd over just because of his personality. Sometimes it's just a vibe. And like, that's something you can't explain. That's something that I truly want to figure out. I'm similar to you where like, I need structure. I need this, I need that. I need like step-by-step process for me to explain what I'm doing to help. But then there's certain things that are just unexplainable. Yeah. If I think about One Piece, I think about Luffy, and it's like, how does this anime last forever? Okay. It's because he has a never-ending quest to be the best. Okay. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, all right.
But,
and then it's so funny, like, look into things so deeply, and you try and explain that to somebody who's like, it's just a cartoon.
Yeah.
You're totally missing the whole thing.
Yeah. Like, when people say that, I love watching movies. Like, no. You just like watching an hour and a half of one like story, and that's it. That's your mind capacity,
right?
But
you have to take something away from it. Like any movie that you're watching is worth taking something away. Like, I'm not a sci-fi guy, but we watched Dune, and like, you just come away with so much.
Is Dune with Vin Diesel? No, I'm thinking about Pitch Black.
Yes.
Okay.
Dune, you gotta watch it. It's amazing. Okay. Right? And they talk about like legacy. They talk about plans taking hundreds of years, and like these big philosophical things, and it's got amazing action in it, right? And that's going to be the main draw for some people. Yeah. But if you're watching it with an open mind and you're seeing how the Duke talks to his son about his sort of transferring of power, talking about legacy, and they're walking in like this land that's it, and all the gravestones of their ancestors, and it's just like, you got to take that scene in and just be like, this is hundreds of years of this one family passing the torch, What kind of effort does that take, right? What kind of effort does that take to maintain, a business and then pass it down from generation to generation? What type of effort does it take to keep the family together? Right. To make your son understand how important this is. Yeah. It's not about him, it's about the bigger picture. It's not about me, it's a bigger picture. But at the same time, being able to say, whatever you choose, I'm okay with, because I'm your dad, and as long as, he says, as long as you're my son, you've done everything you want to be. And it's like, damn, there's some big stuff there. But there's lasers and stuff like that. It's like, how did you miss that? How did you miss that one thing? And you just got distracted by the lasers, So just being able to like absorb these big ideas. And I always find myself taking away more from that than I will from like an inspirational quote. Yeah. Take those and delete them, throw them out there. I don't need to see a repost of a quote or whatever. Yeah. I'll take that I digested from some piece of stimulus and like, ooh, that made me think of something in a different way. Yeah. Like, wow. And then it becomes a part of you.
Because you need to like see the story unfold in front of you, right? Yeah. Like, when you think of
things in a different way.
Movies, anime, like I got to see the character development and like staying like step by step. Like now I'm just getting like flooded with anime.
Sure. Metaphors.
Yeah. I think of have you ever seen My Hero Academia?
No.
Damn, okay. That was tough. How about let me see if I can relate something. What's something off the top of my head? Hot take, Dragon Ball.
You're going to hate me, but I was never a Dragon Ball fan.
Damn.
The fights took too long. I wanted to get into it because the art style was amazing.
Yeah.
But it's like 3 episodes in, it's like this guy still like didn't throw a punch yet. My brother will kill me for it because it's one of his favorites. But it's like, can we get to the point, guys?
Okay. So let me see how.
I watched Cowboy Bebop. I watched Death Note. I watched Samurai Champloo. Some of Naruto, not a lot.
Okay.
What else did I watch? And then some random ones. Inuyasha. I watched.
You're more of a gamer.
Yeah, for sure.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, let me just throw one analogy there. I got, say, with Cowboy Bebop, it's kind of like growing up in the hood or in the impoverished, and you're trying to get like bounties. You're trying to do whatever you can, and that's something that I've been told most of my life.
Okay.
When it comes to business.
Okay.
I had a friend when I first started my personal training business. It's like, Bryan, you got to get out of this like survivor mentality. And I was like, what do you mean? Mm-hmm. He's like, you're acting like everything is your life or death. And I'm like, I mean, that's how I was trained in the military. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. But like, and that's how I treated my training.
Okay.
Like when I did my own like personal training, strength training, I had to just figure it out. Like, if I don't hit this lift, if I don't do this, I'm going to lose. Okay. Whether it's like some type of competition that I was doing, like I want to be the best. So I'm going to do whatever I can to be the best. And then I'll work my competitions up, like how to like level up.
Yeah.
And I see that in like all sorts of businesses. Like when it comes to now relating to real estate, if you're not making 6 figures already, go buy a property that's not $100,000.
Right. Otherwise, you're never going to get there.
Yeah.
Or you could make 6 figures and it's not going to make a difference.
Yeah.
This is
now you have more money to play. You have more margin.
That's
you have a bigger delta.
Yeah. So it's like you can't lose what you don't put in the middle. Oh no. You could buy the same amount of stuff with the money that you don't lose as you can with the money that you win. Now this is from like Super System, Doyle Brunson, poker player. I dealt poker in New York City, and that was a big learning experience for me. Yeah, being involved in there, loved the game, learned a lot through those interactions, and how people make their decisions, putting people to the test, playing with leverage. That amazing game. Yeah. And he, that was one of the metaphors he said. It's like, don't try and win. You're trying to win, but just remember, it's like that money in your pocket's still money. Yeah. Like risk reward.
That's like, a tough lesson to learn, though, coming from the break, because I feel like so
many of these are easier said than done. Absolutely.
Yeah. No, I say it though. I say it. I don't know. I'm biased because I think my way is the best. It's just because you learn as you go rather than having the knowledge first and doing the best move with it. Unless you're pulling margin with poker, you're given chips already. Sure. Now it's your job not to lose your chips, right, and still gain more. Yeah. So that's a mentality where I find with military members and poker players. Okay. I think I told you over the phone one time, like my children have to learn one of those 2 skills.
Yes, that's right. You were saying that's exactly right.
Because it's at that point, I feel like only with the military, only with playing poker, you're given something prior to deserving it. Okay. Because with poker, you get the chips in front. You buy in. You put your money to buy your chips, but now you have a lot more chips than in like dollar amount. Sure. In a tournament scenario, right? Like depending on whatever with the leverage, if you're going dollar for dollar in the cash game, but yeah, essentially like you've got it. Yeah. What are you going to do with it? Are you going to get more? Are you going to lose it? You're going to protect it? How are you going to manage this risk? Right. Right. How are you going to make this worth your time? Yeah. And then playing the game that way. But yeah, totally. Like you learn so much from that game. Risk management. Yeah. Risk management. Dealing with people, making decisions, living with your decisions. Yeah. Recording the decisions that you've made over time, and then being able to draw on those. Yeah. And also, like dealing with people. Yeah. It's like maybe you haven't played with this player before. Yeah. But you have to classify him. Right. So that you can figure out how to base his decisions. Like, okay, he plays like him, and this is what he would do there. Yeah. So you put him in a mold for a little bit. You give him the benefit of the doubt, and you sort of play around with it.
So doing that for those years definitely helped me in my way going forward, how my thought process is, my decision-making process.
Okay.
Risk management and all that.
Do you think there's any other thing to add on my list? So besides poker and military, what are good ways to learn risk management?
What are good ways to learn poker and military? I mean, I want to say trading.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you need to learn risk management beforehand before you get into there. But
you learn as you go.
Yeah, you kind of do. So with that, it's so with trading and poker, they're very similar.
Yeah.
Right. And then one vice versa. But risk management is key. So with trading, and then I don't know if this will answer the question, but the risk management, the key takeaway there, and after years and years of trading, after thousands and thousands of trades, you have to kind of come to the conclusion that you're not supposed to be looking at how much you can win. It's how much you're risking first, and then how much can I gain.
Okay.
And that's almost like you can buy the same amount of stuff with the money that's left in your pocket as you can with the money that you win. You win 20, you can buy $20 worth of stuff. If you don't lose 20, you can still buy $20 worth of stuff.
Right.
So a lot of people will look at like, oh wow, look, Tesla's ripping. I want to get in. Like, okay, well, wait. How much you going to risk?
Yeah.
Like, well, it looks like it's going to go to 700. It may.
Yeah.
How much are you willing to risk to get it to 700? And like, you have to look at it that way, because if you don't have a risk reward ratio that you're going to live with, you need a win rate that's going to support it. Yeah. Right. Say you put down $100, and every time you put down $100, you win $100. But if you only have a 50-50 win rate, you're not going to get anywhere. Yeah. Now, say you have a 30% win rate, but every time you put down $100, you get 200 back or 300 back. That's 2 to 1. Yeah. Now 2 to 1, you'd get 2 to 1, you're getting $200 back. 30%, you're going to break even. You turn that to 3 to 1, and now you're ahead of the game, and you're going to lose 70% of the time. And that was tough trying to explain that to clients. Like, listen, I may only be right 30% of the time, but if we allocate the risk management, if we take care of risk management, we're going to end up ahead of the game. Now, losing 70% of the time isn't for everybody. Right. Because after the 5th loss in a row, it's like, you're under. Yeah, well, how do you pull that trigger again? How do you pull it again? But if you have a proven system and you follow the signals, you have to follow them. Yeah. So that's what risk management is all about. The best way to do that is to not start with real money. Right. Right? Because you need to know what risk feels like. Yeah. Right? What that loss feels like. Do you need to be someone who wins 50% of the time? If you do, then this strategy isn't for you, because you're not going to like losing 70% of the time. It's going to weigh on you emotionally. You're not going to be able to pull the trigger. If you're okay with it and you have the long-term data to support it, you can pull the trigger, and this strategy will work for you. And that's kind of it. And I don't know if that answers what will teach you risk management, but maybe it does. But you have to get to a very high level in trading for that to start to sink in. Yeah. To where you actually internalize that, and you're able to pull the trigger no matter what. Because once you start to see things start to add up, and you're like, okay, this is adding up. The market is telling me this, and I got to pull the trigger here because now's a good time as any. And it's like, okay, that one didn't work. That one didn't work. That one worked, and it took care of the losses. And now I'm making money. Now I'm making more money, and okay, done. Yeah. Because if you get in one trade and you only have $100 to spare and you lose that $100, you got nothing for the next trade. Yeah. So if you can't answer and I say, well, how much are you going to risk? You're like, I don't know. Like, what if it don't work? Yeah. This one's going to work. You're done. One and done. Right? You're right. You're telling me that this thing traded 50 million shares and your 100 shares is right? You're the only guy on all Wall Street that knows what's going on. Yeah. I highly doubt it. Just accept that you don't know what's going to happen. The market's going to do it, and just in case you're wrong. Yeah. No. Okay. That makes a whole lot of sense, because the way that I think we've talked about this too is like understanding game theory. When you understand game theory, you understand your percentages. And I think about that in business too, where you think about when you say, what do you have to lose? What are you betting on? What's your conversion rate? And then where's your health when you think about video games? Sure, yeah. Okay. Yeah. How many times can you get kick down before it's like, I can't pull the trigger.
Exactly.
Like health meter. That's
you think about Street Fighter. You can get jabbed by Ryu like one time, 2 times, 3 times, 5 times.
Yeah.
Your damage bar goes this.
As soon as he pulls that Dragon Punch, you better pull back. You better block it because now he's got an opening.
Yeah.
Just take the jab, take the jab, take the jab. Trick him into going for that opening because you know that there's a frame delay. Yeah. And that frame delay is going to allow you to block, and now he's wide open, and now you can combo into
punch.
it. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but now the payoff is
you're ready.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12.
Yeah.
And it's like, I just took 5 and I just gave him 15, and now I've got another open. Now I've got a health advantage, and now I can push into the win. So it's like risk reward right there. And you see this risk reward all over the place. All over the place, especially in competitive video games.
Yeah.
You know, is it worth it to peek this angle? You know?
Or like shooting, like Call of Duty.
Is it worth it to peek this angle? It's like, that shot was kind of off. Do I do it again? Ooh, second shot was bad. You're gathering information.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, third shot's either going to be on the money and I'm done.
Yeah.
Either he only needed 2 to adjust, or he's just a terrible shot and this third shot is going all the way over there. So like, okay, third time, pink. I was like, all right, let's not do that again. And then so on and so on. And video games are a great way. I think there you go.
Are you into first-person shooters?
The 2 games I'm playing now are Call of Duty. I've been playing that one for a while. And the part I like about it is teamwork, communication. Me and my brothers will play, like 4 of us.
Yeah.
And we'll get on there, we'll, talk shit and, whatever, hang out. So for an hour a day, we're hanging out. That's my hangout time. Right, with my brothers. And it's competitive and it's communication. We'll play it that way where we're having like communication and we'll intermission. Yeah. And and so that's what's fun. So I think that we can add that to the list as a way to learn risk reward. So
video games?
Right? So there's that, and then there's a game that me and my brother kind of invented. It's called Wizard of Legend, right? So a super indie game. When it first came out, it was big, and then it died off. And so what it is, it's like a dungeon crawler, kind of like Diablo or whatever. It's like you crawl in dungeon, you level up, and then it takes you a while to get all the spells and beat boss, all that sort of stuff. In that game, there's a PvP mode, which is 2-player, player versus player. Right? And one day he came over and we're playing the dungeon mode. We're getting killed. It's the hardest game we ever played. Yeah. So he brought it over one time and we're like, oh wow, you can play each other. We sat on the couch for about 3 hours straight playing each other in such an intense way where it's like we're reading each other's minds and we're figuring out how the rhythm goes. And after a while, I was like, I think I get this game. Then we rip through the game. Because now we're not playing against computers who only have this, and this. Yeah. We're playing against another person who's thinking and making decisions at the same time. Right? They're moving around the map. They're casting these things. You're taking into account all this data. You're digesting this data. Yeah. And then you're bluffing, you're faking, you're pulling back, you're doing all these things. And that right there is risk management too. Yeah. It's like, what do? Do I expend all my health bar? Do I expend all of my cooldowns to go in for this one attack? Yeah. If I'm only going to get 50 out of it, but I have to risk 100 HP to get it, it's like, that's not right at all. Wow. But if you're going to risk 50 and I'm going to get 150, you got to do it every single time. Every single time. Sometimes you're going to win, sometimes you're going to lose. Yeah. But you got to take that shot because that's your best shot to win. Yeah. That's your best shot to win. That's a good trade. And if you lose there's no way that the other guy doesn't say, all right, GG's, bro. Like if you do something where it's like, you just risk 50, it's like you got nothing out of it. What did you need that for? Yeah. That's like when you're playing and competing on a high level, another player will realize that and be like, yeah, that was a good play. Yeah. Like, it didn't, I got you. But it's like, even though the guy won, he's like, not that, like, I kind of got lucky there. Like, he doesn't feel great about his win. Yeah. If he's a good competitor, he doesn't feel great about it. I was like, all right, that was good. Okay. To have the respect of your opponent. Yes. And then that makes a whole lot of sense. And that now, after you're saying that, it's like any type of game, any type of, like, any game. I think just game. Mm-hmm. To me, games, video games, board games, physical fighting, gunfight, that's what I think. Sure. Where you actually, when you're risking something, all those things, you're gathering data. Yeah. And that, like, what I really love about you is like you're very open with this, like, risk management. Well, I think that's probably your background as a Wall Street guy. That makes sense. And just like you mentioned, it's like business, just everything. Once that clicks and you realize that everything is about that. Yeah. and you can start to put that into, hey, is this worth
your life?
Hey, is this worth it?
Yeah.
Like, what am I getting out of this?
Yeah.
What am I getting from this person?
Right.
Right? I'm giving all this time into this relationship.
Yeah.
Am I getting anything in return? It's like, no, not really.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? That's your time.
Right.
Your money you can always get back. Your time you cannot.
Right.
So that's very important in relationships too.
Yeah.
You know, business ventures, partnerships, this, that. You want to risk and reward. What am I giving and what am I going to get in return?
Right.
Right. And you need to be realistic about the return.
Yeah.
You know, you have to break it down. You know, there's those passion projects where it's like, I know that I'm not going to get too much out of this, but I just really want to do it right now.
Yeah.
And those are the ones where you're going to pull your fundamental philosophies. You don't know what you're going to get out of it.
Yeah.
It may not be money. It may not be this, but it may be just a fun
Enjoyment.
experience. Yeah.
Yeah.
It may be a moment of relaxation. But even in those, you can get something, because somebody could say, well, you're playing video games for like an hour a day. It's like, that's kind of a waste of time. It's like, to me, it's not.
Yeah.
To me, it's not. I'm practicing my decision making on the fly.
Right.
Continuously. And I'm evaluating my mistakes. I'm evaluating my moves. Was that the right move? It's like, certain people might not want to play with me because I'll sit there and I'll talk for 15 minutes about, oh man, this is what we should have did. This is what we should do. This is what we'll do next time. This is what, it's like, I'm just shooting guns. It's like, all right, maybe me and you aren't good teammates.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's like, that's the way I think. You take the data, you analyze it, and you push yourself to be better, be better, be better.
Yeah. It helps you judge people.
Yes.
When it comes to like your teammates.
Yes.
Or figuring
how
out.
they make their decisions.
Yes.
How they react under pressure. How they take a bad decision. Oh, I can't believe this guy. It's like, as soon as they start pointing that way, it's like, okay, like you're not going to improve past this point if you're just telling him what he should have did. It's like, well, what did you do?
Yeah. Oh, I used to play Call of Duty Zombies.
Yeah.
And I remember I had like two best friends I used to love playing with.
Okay.
And they are how they play.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. Totally.
I have one guy. He's this Rambo kind of guy.
Okay.
He just comes in and just tries to take everyone on up by himself. He's like, don't worry, I got it. I know where to go, where to reload, but we don't work as a team.
Yeah.
So really, if I know that he's Rambo, I play the support.
Yes.
Where I get his back if I see someone like another zombie coming from his rear.
Because how good of a player could you be
if I did the same thing?
If you know he's going to do that, and you want to do this, and it's like, that's not going to work.
Yeah.
One of you's got to give.
Right.
So if you can't get him to see it your way, you've got to react to it and then strengthen the team. Because at the end of the day, if that's the way he's going to play, if that's his strength, you have to nurture that strength. Let him go that way. Not everyone is going to be a switch hitter. Not everyone's going to be like water, like Bruce Lee, right?
Exactly.
Not everyone's going to be like water. So if you can play that way, you can fill any role.
I thought it was just so funny because he would always talk shit to me like, bro, you gotta be like me. Just go in. And
like,
just
don't you see what I'm doing here?
I'm helping you.
You see the mess that you made that I cleaned up for the past 20 minutes? It's like, oh, but look at how many kills I got. It's like, yeah, but you almost wrecked the game 15 different times that you didn't even realize.
No, but then you know what's funny? So I have another friend. He's similar to me where we'll play the counter. We'll just like have each other's back. And just like, all right, you got this sector, I got this sector, and then we'll take these windows, close them. But the funny part is, I'll get with zombies. Every time you kill a certain amount of zombies, you get to the next level, and then more comes,
and they're faster, and
But with the guy who's the Rambo guy, and I got his back, we've gotten farther.
Sure, because that's the thing. You need
an aggressor.
Yes, every player has their position.
Yeah,
you just have to make sure that they're in the right position. And certain people are a player for the position, and certain people can look at how the other players are playing, looking at the big picture. Like, I don't have play any sports, but I would probably have so much fun managing a basketball team.
Yeah.
It's like I would need people under me to, tell me what all these things are. I was like, okay, and then you break it down or whatever, right? But to be efficient, it's like you need to know what the strengths of each person is.
Yeah.
And putting them in the right place, managing people.
Ooh.
Not everybody's made for that.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody wants to be that.
Right.
But it takes a lot more than just being like, listen to me. It's like, okay, well, we'll listen to you the last 15 times. You're not you're not a leader, and that's not a bad thing. You're just very good at this.
Yeah.
You do that and I'll just react.
Yeah.
So video games definitely risk management, and I think there's a lot to it because I think decision making and committing to a decision, reacting to a bad decision, reacting to an unknown. I think that is the most important thing in business.
Yeah.
The most important thing in life, because nothing is ever going to go the way that you expect it to. So there's only so much you can plan. And if you start planning too far ahead and you start thinking about the risks that are going to come at you, you're going to be paralyzed by fear.
Yeah.
Like, one objective at a time. That's what I used to say. One objection at a time.
Okay.
On my sales sticky note. The whole Bible worth of sales fits on a sticky note. That's it. And all those people that I was telling you that I was trying to learn from, they couldn't really teach me. So on the sticky note, I wrote these little things. This is what I kept with me. And I kept it for years and years and years. And when I tried to explain it to them, they're like, what does that mean? It's like,
what's on it?
This is what it is. Like, okay, I'll just do my way. It's like, okay, well, this is why it works.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, after a while, they start coming to me and be like, well, what would you say here? What would you do here? How would you handle this?
Yeah.
Like, okay, now I'm the guy.
Yeah.
Now I'm the guy. And not only that, but now I can tell you how to do it.
Now you can teach.
I'm not just going to say, just go do it. I'm going to tell you why. Let's listen to your tapes. Let's hear it. It's like, blah, blah, blah. It's like, oof, what was that?
Yeah.
That was a close. How'd you miss the close?
Right.
Like, what are you're still talking. This is 15 minutes later. You're still talking. Shut up.
Yeah.
Close. Like, well, why what do you mean, why? This,
You're
this.
done.
You know? So it definitely comes from doing the same thing over and over, collecting that data, and then figuring out what works and what doesn't work.
I want to know what was on that sticky note. What's on your sticky note?
I'll show you. Yeah. I'll show you. One objection at a time is one of them.
Okay.
No, don't tell. Like, there's all these philosophies, these things. I'll show it to you. I think it's fascinating.
Okay.
Because there was, over the years I added, over the years I took away when they were redundant. But, one objection at a time means, like, if he says he doesn't want to do it for this reason, or the person can't do it for this reason, well, explain to him, depending on the situation, right?
Yeah.
And so for what I used to do, you dealt with a lot of, and I don't know how much to tell you, you dealt with a lot of people who had money.
Yeah.
And they would say, I can't do it. Why can't you do it? It usually came down to like one or two things. Either they didn't trust you.
Yeah.
Okay, which was the main thing.
Right.
Because they had dealt with people that did what you did for a long time.
Yeah.
And it never worked out.
Mm-hmm.
Because for the most part, a lot of salesmen aren't honest. Right?
Yeah.
So, or they legitimately couldn't. But the legitimately couldn't was over here, right?
Right.
And if you've seen Boiler Room, if you've seen any of these things, like, oh, my wife, taxes, this, like, come on.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this: is it because every time that you listen to a guy with a New York accent, you lost money? Every single time, and now you just shut up. You just shut up. Just let him tell you. He's gonna let it all out. You just
I like
sit there
that.
and let it all out, and then all of a sudden, when he's done, it's like, all right, let me tell you this, and then that's it. Now you go in. There was another one. Back up. Don't back down.
Yeah.
When they're telling you something, every no is a maybe. Every no is a maybe. Huh? So it's like, when they would tell you no, it's like, you're backing up. It's like a fight. They're telling you no. It's like,
dodge.
And you wait for the leverage. Back in.
Yeah.
You back down. It's like, okay. You're backing up.
Yeah.
Right? And as soon as you're ready to go in, you're in.
I like that.
The whole thing is like a joust. And these are the things that I visualized when I just think sales is fascinating. I just think negotiation is fascinating. I think that finding the leverage, manufacturing the leverage, setting it up like that chessboard over there.
Yeah.
Setting it up to where it's like you're going to have the leverage.
Right.
These things are so interesting. And a lot of times when you're in something like real estate, you have these ideas and it's like you realize like, hey, I'm negotiating with this person. This person doesn't have a clue what they're talking about.
Right.
It's like, oh, okay. And so many times it's like, this guy's been in the business for way longer than me. And it's like,
still don't know.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll tell you what, we're going to do things this way. How about this?
Yeah.
And this is why. Oh, you really think so? It's like, how are you asking me?
Yeah.
How are you asking me? You're doing this all this time. It's like, okay, as a matter of fact, this is what I think.
Yeah. That makes sense. I learned a lot of, say, CIA secrets, like negotiation.
Sure.
Where it's kind of like show, don't tell, or whoever says the least has the leverage.
Yeah.
That kind of
First
stuff.
Person talk loses.
Yep. So those kind of things go on my head all the time. But then it's being like brief with someone makes people also not trust you.
Okay.
Because now they feel like they don't have rapport with you.
Yes.
And that's like my issue. Like we're so ready for the kill or for the close. Yes. You're just like,
and that is the
what is this guy hiding?
Difference. Yeah, that is the main difference in dealing with people on Wall Street and dealing with people on Main Street. There you go.
Yeah.
Right. Dealing with people when they want to build up, they want to buy houses. They have to feel comfortable with you. They have to know that you're looking out for their best interests, right?
Yeah.
If they certain people call you up, or certain people want to look for a house, and if they get right into the money conversation, that's awesome. This is my wheelhouse. We're going to talk about risk reward. We're going to talk about how much this is going to cost, and I'm going to ask you like how much you make a year. But it's like you can't ask everybody that way, right? But if I were to show up to the table and I sit down and the guy, he looks at me, he's like, okay, well, how much you make? It's like, okay, yeah, I'll tell him. How much do you have? I'll tell him, right? Because to me, it's like, okay, that's the way I speak, but that's not for everybody. So the fun thing in dealing with people during real estate transactions is you're meeting every different type of person.
Yeah.
When you're buying hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars worth of stock, you're generally dealing with the same type of person, right? And it doesn't matter what walk of life they are. It doesn't matter what color, what gender, what nothing. They are rich people. They run a business, and they speak the same language. It doesn't matter what color it is, okay? Rich people, whatever state they are, they all sound the same.
Yeah.
They all sound the same.
Yeah.
And that was another thing. When you call up somebody over the phone, and you get him on the phone, and he picks up the phone, and as soon as they speak, it's the guy.
Right.
You know that's the business. And I say the guy, but it could be the girl, right? So I don't know if you have to. We'll change it up, right? But you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's like and he could be something like when you call up the business, soft as a grape. How I make you smile today? It's like, that's the guy. It's like, hey Bob, it's Biaggio. Blah, blah, blah. You get right into it.
Yeah.
You don't even have to say, hey, is Bob there? It's like, hey Bob, it's Biaggio. You got 2 seconds? You just know it. And that was the other thing where it was like, it works both ways. So I made sure that when I call someone on the phone, when I'm talking to someone on the phone, I want them to feel like, ooh, that's the guy.
Yeah.
Right? You want to portray that. And it takes a lot of that, like being brief, right?
Yeah.
And when you said like being brief, being direct, being all these other things, and then this whole thing of sales, this all adds up to, this guy is serious. Like, he's not on the phone to waste my time. He's not a salesman.
Yeah.
This guy does what he says. You could just hear it.
Yeah.
So.
Confidence.
Exactly. Like, he's done it 100 times. You're not going to tell him anything he hasn't heard, and he knows when you're full of shit.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And so when you're dealing with people in real estate, it's like that's an asset to have, but it has to be done in a very specific way.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's so many different people that do it, and that's kind of where we started. It's like I said, you could be in any state. You're going to talk that way. If you run a business and you have employees, you have to talk that way.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who you are.
Right.
When you're buying someone a house, they're every walk of life, every personality type, and every language, everything. Did it cut off?
I think that one cut off. Our battery died.
Oh yeah. Which
that was so long.
Okay, that's
yeah.
So every walk of life. So you have to learn how to communicate and get that across to every single type of person.
Right.
So that's exciting because that's where it's learning. If I knew it already, that'd be great because then I'd be able to like talk to everybody. But this is the trial and error.
Yeah.
Okay. Ooh, don't say that to this type of person. Oh, this person is, you can't do that to this. Say this way.
Yeah.
Like, like somebody says, we want to buy this house, but we don't want to sell this house. We want to rent this house.
Okay.
Okay. The first question I want to ask is like, well, how much is your mortgage? Don't ask that. You shouldn't ask that to certain type of people.
Oh.
If it was me, again, about how much you paying a month.
Yeah.
Certain type of people, like, oh, that's nice. Somebody wants to be, they're a little bit more guarded when you're talking about money. Say something like, okay, that's awesome. That sounds like a really good plan. How long have you owned it? Oh, well, I owned it about 4, 5, 6 years. Okay, 6 years, you go back, like, oh, you probably got a good interest rate, like 4 or 5%.
Yeah.
Yeah, 4.5%. Instead of saying, what's your interest rate?
Oh, so you have to like do some digging.
A little bit.
I hate that shit.
I kind of do too. But it is a question that is helpful.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I want to know how much you paid, but I know, I know that if I ask you outright,
yeah,
you're not only going to not want to tell me, now you're going to be on guard.
That's why I like playing on the finance side of things.
Right.
They already know.
Yes, you get right to it.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's like, how do you match the personality type to the person?
I see.
You know? And it's like, it's just is what it is. And it's like, that's the fun. And like, because you want to build an authentic, genuine rapport. And everyone who I've dealt with, I've been able to deal with, have a genuine, authentic rapport.
Yeah.
These people, they were talking about, so I met these people last summer. We ended up buying a house. It took 6-7 months. They took a break or whatever. But they were the complete opposite of me.
Yeah.
They were very quiet, very low key, very, I don't want to say like nerdy a little bit, right?
Okay.
But they were very much, and not to say that I'm not, but, and this is what links it together, is like, well, how did you guys meet? I was struggling to find one common thread. Well, how did you guys meet? And then they mentioned, it's like, we met on an online video game, Ragnarok. I was like, is that still around? They still play? And all of a sudden, now
you're friends.
Now we're friends. Now we have a common thread.
Yeah.
We're talking about Zelda. We're talking about video games. We're talking about all these things because we have that bond about that thing. And it's genuine and it's authentic. And it was very cool, And so everybody who I do deal with, I'm always trying to find a way where we have a common thread because I do believe that there is a common thread somewhere. Right?
You got to figure it, find it.
Yeah, and the better you get at the more people you're going to narrow down. There's always going to be some people you just don't vibe with.
Yeah.
And it just is what it is.
Right.
And the name of the game is making sure that it goes from this to that, where it's like they're just not going to deal with you. But you know what? Once you get to a certain level of business, it's like you don't want to deal with them either.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Win some, you lose some.
That's
it. You kind of deal with it.
And no matter how good you are, you're always going to lose clients. It just is what it is.
I got you. Let's wrap up on that. I want to say my biggest takeaway: gamers are going to rule the world. That's what I got for you.
Yeah, I think so.
Because we understand risk management. But the biggest thing I want everyone to think about, or I don't want just my take on it. If you could teach anything, or one piece of advice to the world, what would it be?
Just do stuff.
Yeah.
That's it. Just do stuff.
Try things.
Try everything.
Mm-hmm.
And a smart person is going to take advice on the second time, not the first time, not the third time. The first, if you tell me why not to do something, you give me advice, and I take it on the first time, it's almost like cowardice. Like I should have tried it myself.
Yeah.
If I have to take it on the third time after failing the first 2 times, then I'm kind of an idiot, right? It's like you told me twice. Why did I take me the third time? But on the second time, we can go back. Hey, remember that thing that you told me?
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm ready to hear it. Okay, because
apply.
I tried it. It didn't work my way. I can kind of see that. So I would say do things. Take all types of criticism, all types of warnings from other people who are saying, like, you shouldn't do this because A, B, C, D, E. They tell you, it's not going to work because of this. It's like, okay, so I just have to do that and it'll work. Okay, what else? It's not going to work because of this. Like, okay, so I have to do that and it'll work. So you're telling me that because of this, and this, it's not going to work. Okay, so if I could do this, and this, I can make it work? Yeah. Any criticism, any, warning, they're giving you the roadmap to success.
Yeah.
And you also don't know, a lot of them you can cancel off because it was maybe just their personal thing. So if you've got an idea, if you've got something you want to do, just do it and see what happens.
Yeah.
What's the worst that happens? You're going to wake up tomorrow morning anyway. You might as well be doing what you want to do. That's the worst case scenario, you get a story out of it.
That's the best.
That's it.
Getting a story.
If you don't have enough stories, no one's going to want to talk to you.
That's facts. 100%.
That's right.
Well, that's it. Appreciate your time.
Oh, man. This is awesome. Yeah, looking forward to doing more of this.
Until next time.